Hello and welcome to today's special conversation on the occasion of Children's Day. Today we have with us a tremendously accomplished and seasoned academician who has years of experience with dealing with a plethora of roles in a prestigious career as a school teacher and then as a principal of promising institutions. Ma'am Soma Banerjee. At present, she is the principal of Starling International School, Shamnagar, West Bengal. She cherishes and relishes the fond memories of those mesmerizing years of being an English teacher. She flaunts in style that she has been guided by the best teachers, and I quote her, it's her students. She owes her growth to her parents, teachers, and students. Miss Banerjee believes administration is fun for her when she can handhold her colleagues and make them believe that the best mantra today is to collaborate and be transparent. Join me to extend a hearty welcome to Ma'am Soma Banerjee. Hello, ma'am. How have you been? I still can't believe that we are again sitting here together after a span of 16 years. With you, still haven't changed a bit. You still, as our teacher, who would be sharing her life lessons today.
When you say I haven't changed, what about the silver stresses that you didn't see in school? Those are some, added ornaments I'm very proud of. It says that I'm experienced. I always say, the muscle man shows his muscle and the seasoned teacher shows the silver stresses. And I'm very proud of them. Okay, so I don't hide them nowadays. Once or twice I tried to, but I said, no, what to hide? It fits my skin, which is already folding. Okay, yes, it's so nice, but it's so nice, that in these 16 years, uh, we are sitting behind tables of the same type and size.
Right,
That you are now seasoned, grown, and I'm so proud that one cat out of my bag has become a teacher.
Thank you, ma'am.
Wonderful talking to you. I'm so proud of you, Lumdini,
Thank
and
you,
all
ma'am.
your friends.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, it's wonderful to know that you've been keeping up with life with the same spirit that we had always associated you with. Ma'am, share with us your story. From where did all of it start? Why did you take up teaching? Was there a dramatic actor in you who wanted to stage your best performances every day? Because teachers are often associated with passion.
This teaching, probably from my father's side, we have a lot of teachers. I have my aunts, paternal aunts, which in Bengali we call Pishis. I have a couple of Pishis who are teachers. I didn't see my grandfather, my paternal grandfather again. He was a headmaster. He started his life later on. He went to other higher administrative posts in the government. Probably it's in the genes, I think. And, right from the day I went to school, though I'm an old lady now, but because I was a very naughty girl and being pampered in a joint family, my mother in those days had put me in school when I was 2.5.
Okay.
And the day I went to school, I loved school, I loved my teachers. And I believe I used to come and imitate them at home. I always wanted a sling bag, according to my mother. And because always I went to these English medium schools, so I didn't see my teachers much wearing saris in the lower classes. So I didn't mind, becoming a teacher in my dress because I saw them wearing dresses. And I used to have books and bags as my students. And it was called teacher game. I was the teacher and I had some imaginary. It probably began there. Then in school, one of my teachers, when she started teaching us geography in class 7, I don't know whether I should use her name here or not, whether her family would mind or not, so I wouldn't use. The day she started teaching me, and she was our geography teacher, that day it was sealed that I would become a teacher. Well, I'm nowhere close to her also. I'm 100 acres behind her. She's a super human being, superb teacher. I'm nowhere near her. But yes, she was the last, nail that
Right.
I would become a teacher. I keep telling her even now that, Miss, how or why I can't become like you. Well, she says that she hasn't seen me teaching. So, that's how I became a teacher. And a very interesting, while I was giving you the answer, the first part, actually at the back of the mind, I was thinking, what a wonderful question to throw at me. This dramatic part, especially when I was teaching y'all. I'm not saying your batch.
Right.
I'm talking about Jamshedpur Public School. When I was teaching the class 12 students, after some time I started, because, we had the same book for years.
Yes.
I used to sometimes feel that, yes, I go and play my part in the class. Of course, it was not a part in a film, it was a part on the stage where, you know, things change sometimes due to
Yes.
the audience. It's not very fixed. It's not very fixed. It is fixed. If I have to teach, I think you all had a chapter, shoot with the camera or something like that,
Yes. Yes.
uh, about animal photographer. Yes or no?
Yes,
You all
ma'am.
had the Titanic also.
Which one, pardon, ma'am?
Titanic.
Um,
Maybe you
I
forgot it.
cannot recall. Yes, right now.
So, when I used to teach, so every year I was teaching the same thing, the
Okay.
same book for
Yes.
donkey's years.
Yes.
So, sometimes a time came when I felt that, yes, I was playing my part, but it was a live show.
Right.
It's not a film, it's a live show. So everything was not absolutely same to the T,
Right.
but very much same. But those little changes were the sparks which motivated me.
Right, ma'am.
Uh, like I'll tell you, I don't know whether you remember, I did it religiously with your batch or not. On Saturdays, I used to take 10 minutes of your class to ask the students about to give a review of my teaching.
Yes.
Most of the time, you all said, Miss, you're very good, we like you, and all that. So I used to sometimes joke and say, these like yous won't change my salary. Next month, I'll get the same salary. Be honest. I still thank one of my students. I won't give his name. Maybe he wouldn't like it. He had told me, I think he's one of the greatest teachers in my life. He had told me, Miss, you teach very well. I like it. I understand it. I enjoy your classes. But when you speak, the last two words of your sentences, one or two words, in the last bench, we cannot hear. Your voice fails at the
Okay.
end of the sentence. I tell you, Lumbini, he's the greatest teacher in my life. He helped me to change overnight. Now I'm so conscious, wherever I speak, that my voice should be same till the end.
Right.
So, all these are such lovely. Some of my friends tell me, why don't I write a book about all the experiences I
Yes.
have? And let me tell you, especially about Jamshedpur Public School, it was your school, you went to study there, learn there. It was my school also. Whatever I learned, good, bad, and ugly, I learned a lot. It was a big book for me. And I should thank you people, your parents, and the management of the school for giving me the opportunity to learn. That's also. So a big thank you to JPS and all the JPSians.
Okay. Ma'am, tell us, though we all know that you were a seasoned teacher, still, was there any tradition or superstitions that you would follow for the first day of school, or say maybe before you hit the stage, before anchoring a concert? Because I remember you being immaculate.
Now you are making me nervous, and I start feeling very embarrassed.
I
never
don't feel you
thought,
can ever be
when
nervous
you're
because we have never seen you nervous under any situation.
you use words like immaculate and all that for me, oh Lord, I always think, I'm like, okay, I'm just pulling along. I look up to so many teachers, one being my husband.
Yes,
I look up
yes,
to him
yes,
as an English teacher.
yes.
Like, it just happens to him. So I have seen, and of course, my college and university teachers. So I was never superstitious. Even today, I'm not superstitious at all. I wish I was a bit. Maybe life would have changed. I was never superstitious. And my first day, it was like I didn't feel any nervousness, nothing. And my first batch, it was back in 87. It was not in JPS, in another school in Jamshedpur.
Okay.
I am still connected with those students, I feel so good. Actually, they are the first step in my ladder. If at all I have gone up,
Right.
they gave me the first push. But can I go back a little, Lumini?
Absolutely, ma'am. Take the liberty of recalling and telling your story.
Let me tell you a very funny incident, and I love it. Uh, when I went for my interview for this particular school where I started in 1987, I'm from Kolkata.
Yes,
So
yes.
first interview was in Kolkata, uh, in the telco
Okay.
office. So there was one personnel from the telco factory, but now it's Tata Motors
Yes, yes.
from
Start on.
Motors. So he took my interview and all that, and he told me like, "Your everything is okay." Those days, my B.Ed exams were not over. I was still attending my B.Ed classes.
Okay.
So he said, everything is okay with you. I like you and all that. But Jamshedpur is very fond of experience. And you don't have experience. I said, that's up to you. If I'm doing my B.Ed and if you call me for an interview, you should have been prepared for it. That I won't have interviews. Understood. Later on, he told me that he liked that boldness that I spoke on it.
Oh.
Okay, so for my final interview, I was called to Jamshedpur. I went there with my father to this particular school. Uh, when you were in school, was I very thin and all that? No.
Yes, you are. I think yes, yes,
So
ma'am.
those days I was unmarried and very thin and all that. So when I went for the final interview and the principal, and I had applied for high school, you know. So when the principal, vice principal, and other panel members they saw me, they were like, "Oh my God, how will she go to high school? Such a short lady, so thin." So the principal just told me, just asked me some casual questions and then asked me, we also have a vacancy in the primary school. Like he couldn't tell me that you are better for the primary school. So again, I said, I think I had applied for high school. If it's that, then I talk to you. Otherwise, I leave. Well, later on, she told me that also. They were like, this girl is too bold. So, the first day when I started school and I would go to class, my first class was in my own class, class 8. My second class was in class 10. And, all the boys and the girls were taller than me, stronger than me. And the principal was very, very motherly. She was very worried about me. I didn't know. Later on, I came to know. So I carried on with my class. It was after summer vacation. I had joined in June, end of May actually. So the class was over. One of the support staff comes and tells me, "Bari Didi, aapko bula rahi hai." I said, "Okay." I went down a bit, thinking what she'll say. She said, "I was so scared you'll go to class 10, how they will behave, and if they do something, then what will happen?" So I was standing outside the class, scared. In case of any problem, I would go inside and help you. But when I heard you teaching and your control, after 5 minutes, I walked off. I wanted to tell you congratulations. So this is how, actually my teaching began. When they saw me, they thought I was fit for primary school. But later on, yes. And TPS, when I joined straight away, I joined +2. When they started the +2, I was appointed.
Okay.
And I have some lovely friends there in the staff.
Ma'am, we had graduated from the school in 2004, but had heard that you had eventually taken up the role of being a principal. Well, how smooth was that transition for you, personally as well as professionally?
Well, even becoming the principal, I didn't feel much, but I remember, again, I won't give up the name. One deputy teacher had called me. The first I joined this called, said, Soma, you become principal. How are you feeling?
Ma'am, I think there's a bit of connectivity issue. Your video is getting stuck. Yes, I can see you now.
You can see me now?
Yes, ma'am, I can see you now.
So this teacher calls me and says, Soma, how are you feeling? You've become a principal and all that. I said, I'm feeling very good that I have 2 phones at my disposal. I can call and receive myself. As a teacher, we didn't have that. And
Right.
mobiles. But what I'm missing most is grabbing tiffin in the staff room. I can't do it anymore. Now I have to be such a good poised girl. Okay, and eat my own tiffin. And that was one painful thing for me. Even till today, as a principal, I skip food. I'm not used to eating alone. I like to eat and share with somebody. So till date, even till yesterday, it was difficult for me. My actually lunch, dinner, everything together, it is at 7 p.m. So otherwise, it wasn't only I remember my first staff meeting as a principal. I had told the teachers that, yes, I'm the principal, but remember, if I go to the crease, I have to go with my whole team. I need bowlers, I need batsmen, I need wicket keeper, fielder, everybody. I can be the principal, but I cannot play for the whole team.
Right.
The whole team will play, I will also play, but because I'm experienced, I will give you advice, I will handhold you, but never ever think that I am a one person player. I need the team, and I'm always for you if you genuinely give your best. I'm genuinely with you. So that's how the principalship is going on. And I hope the people who are with me, my colleagues who work with me, they feel the warmth. I don't know.
Ma'am, you would understand that the parents' role has also altered over the years, or has it not? How would you analyze it? Or you may wish to share certain suggestions for the new age parents. I hope all my batchmates are listening carefully to this section, since most of them fall under this category now.
Well, yes, I have a lot to say. See, the parents earlier, don't want to mention any school. Some of them found them, they were totally oblivious of what is happening to the kid. I'm talking about teaching I always taught in higher classes. I'm not talking about the lower classes. So some of them like, oh, acha nahi kiya. Okay. Some of them were mad with me. Remember, I was very particular. You all can't write in ballpoint pen. You have to write in ink pens. So that was a big thing against me. That what are you doing? What are you trying to prove and all that? But I found Some of them were very conscious, very caring about their children. They kept a tab on their children. But, they were also very cooperative with the teacher in a very respectful manner. Like, they always respected if you said that, your child is doing this, needs this. Like I used to always tell your parents after the selections that when they are now at home, give them a lot of food that they love. Give them chips, give them peanuts. Don't always give them palak and all that. Keep them happy and give them a lot of energy food, like things that they like. Oily food doesn't mind because they are young, but keep them happy. But today, uh, now maybe not only higher class, but seeing the whole school from nursery to the higher classes, I find parents are very exacting. They want for everything a result or a competition. I'm talking about the present. Sometimes when I tell them that, they come and complain, the child is very naughty, very disobedient, indisciplined, then I always try to find the good in my children. So suppose I say, he sings very well or she paints very well, why don't you give them extra time? Immediately the answer is yes, I have employed so and so coach or teacher, one of the best, and you know how much I'm paying. And I send him or her for all competitions. So everything ends at the competition. Now, what I feel is, looking at myself when I was a student, we had friends.
Right.
But today, children have competitors. Today, even the concept, a best friend is born. The children never say that this one is my best friend. Because whether best friend or not a good friend, you are my competitor. And we have somehow learned that if I misbehave, probably if I try to disrespect my teacher will give me some more marks while showing the paper, because they see elders doing it, because they'll get irritated. I'm not saying it's all over, but I feel there is a strain there.
Right.
Somewhere I tell parents, let them do something or some things just for nothing. Just for nothing. Don't look ahead for medals or certificates or praise. Let them do anything in their way. If they love to paint, give them.
Yes.
If they have the talent, you cannot stop it. It will come out. You must have heard, I don't know, being in Jamshedpur, but you must have heard of Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar.
Yes, absolutely.
He comes from such a humble
Humble
background,
background.
but what he had to become, he became,
Okay.
isn't it? And he didn't go for
Right.
competitions.
True.
Look at Tagore. So this is, just now I was just sitting with a little booklet that if you give me some interesting facts, I'll note down. See, look at this lady, Helen Keller.
Helen Keller.
Look at these people. So, children don't know about them.
True.
They are not being put at home. I would love them to know about Shah Rukh Khan or Kareena Kapoor. They are also wonderful human beings. They pay their taxes, they work very hard to entertain us. You can give their examples also. I remember in JPS, once in the lower classes, I had to teach class 5. And for their English, I had given them for their autobiography, uh, you are the belt of Shah Rukh Khan or cap of Shah Rukh Khan or the bag of Kareena Kapoor. And I got such wonderful response. It was not the typical autobiography of a pen or a river or a book,
Yes.
or at the most a Coca-Cola bottle. It was like something they were zapped. What is this? Cool, Shah Rukh Khan, Kareena Kapoor. But what's wrong? That's current, that's happening. If I give them Virat Kohli,
True.
what's wrong about it?
True.
So, you have to give them a lot of exposure, come
Yes.
out of the syllabus.
Yes. True.
I hope I'm answering your
No,
questions.
absolute, ma'am. Heard all your new age parents. I hope you are hearing this and save those words of wisdom.
No,
Okay,
but
ma'am.
I'll tell you one thing.
Yes.
Kudos to them. They spend a lot of time. They also come out with creativity.
Yes.
In my school last year, every year we have a little puja celebration. Children come in their casual clothes and all that. But this year, because of the new normal times of COVID-19, we couldn't have it. So I had asked the children to send still photographs,
Okay.
which we stitched together and put it up and all that. You should have seen some of the parents. They got their children dressed up as Ma Durga, Ganesh, Artik, and all that. See, that needs a lot of time, creativity.
Yes.
That also I admire.
Yes.
Okay. Yes,
Ma'am,
you can shoot the.
on a more somber note, ma'am, let me ask you about your views on inclusive education. How do you handle situations involving differently abled students with visible as well as invisible disabilities and their parents? Because I remember you being immensely understanding while supporting our batchmate Justin, who had a terminal condition back in the day. And you, along with the entire school, supported him and helped each one of us to feel that we belonged.
Well, Justin again is a teacher for me. He actually touched my heart and sent me thinking. Before Justin, probably even I did not interact or teach a student. So it has stayed with me. Justin is still with me, though we know he has left for his heavenly abode, but he's still within me because he taught me a lot of things. Not only he, even your whole batch. I remember Raju Bhattacharya was in your batch, no? He was so concerned. He gave up all his intervals for Justin.
Yes,
I
yes.
remember very clearly.
Even Kuntal,
So,
ma'am. Yes.
yes, I was just going to say Kuntal's name. Kuntal and Raju. Raju, I remember for another thing also, before the Durga Puja, he used to do the Durga Stotra in
Yes.
the assembly, and by heart and with right intonation. I, salute him for that and remember him every time on Mahalaya. So, yes, I'm very much for inclusive education. Though, let me tell you, I'm not qualified to be a special educator. But again, as I tell you, my gray stresses probably give me some little help when I look back. I support inclusive education very much. I know fortunate parents whose children have no problem, they sometimes come up that the class is getting slow, but this one is shouting, this one doesn't understand. I never tell them. But here on air, I would like to say that those of us who are fortunate to have absolutely normal, healthy children, let us for 5 minutes put ourselves in their shoes. The world will become absolutely dark for you. It will become bleak, meaningless. But the parents of these children who are differently able, I salute them for their braveness, that they have accepted it. First of all, let me tell you, I don't know why I love these children more. I always thought I was impartial, but nowadays I find I'm partial. I love them very much. Every little thing they do, good or bad, dangerous or not dangerous or safe, I admire it. Because, I have seen even one of my friends who had a spastic child. So one day she called me and said, my son could hold his right hand with his left hand and wave to his father by. It's a great achievement. It's a feat for me. That day also again I had realized, and she was a very close friend of mine, and she's got two kids. The first kid is absolutely healthy, normal, and the second is totally spastic. So whatever they do or whatever they don't do or can't do, I like to help them. But one big block is because in our country, even today, psychology is still not a very acceptable subject. Along with this comes these kind of children and their parents accepting. When your son is suffering from fever, even today, if it is COVID, you can go to the doctor, tell your neighbor that my child is suffering from high fever, I'm going for a COVID test. But if your child has some neurological problem, you cannot tell your neighbor that I'm going to a psychiatrist. Why? My question is why? If you can be physically ill, can't you be mentally ill? It's not a curse or a sin. I'll tell you about myself. My parents, they died in an interval of 3 months. And I am an only child. I don't have siblings as such. And both were like all of a sudden, just died. It's like that. No preparation, no falling sick, nothing. But I was absolutely normal. I did all that I had to do, uh, all the rituals you have to do at the burning heart after that. But I was very normal with the relatives, did all my duties, and always folding hands to people and saying, thank you so much for being. But many years later, I realized that it left a stress on me, which was inside. And I was slowly becoming very delicate and soft. Then, luckily, I got a chance to do a course in counseling, a diploma in counseling. Lumbini, I rediscovered myself. I came to know that I'm not very strong and hard. I'm very vulnerable. I tried. And then I went for, on my own, nobody in my family also knew then, now they know. I went for counseling myself, on my own. Nobody told me. But I was such a lovely person after. And the first 3 sessions, my counselor listened to me as they listened. On the fourth day, when I finished and I was coming, she just tapped me on the back and she says, why you don't love Soma? Shoma is a nice girl. Why do you always keep her at the back? And I just zapped, I looked at her, I said, I didn't get what you said. She said, first 3 days you talked about everything in the world except yourself. Today is the only day you started speaking about yourself. Come out, bring yourself out, come in front. Others will be behind. First it's you and then the others, but you put the others in front and you at the back. So, this is what I'm not telling that whatever I'm saying is very good, people should listen and follow. It's not that. I'm just trying to say we have to accept that at times we are low, we need support. If we need paracetamol for fever, then even for our mental problems, we need help. There's
Right.
nothing to feel that you're a sinner.
Right.
So, this is a big challenge to make that, because a number of times, Lumbini, even at this age, young parents, I didn't even tell them that your child is differently able. I just said, why don't you take him for counseling? Or take her here, take her there. Like, they have complained against me. They wanted me to leave the school. Said I was a dangerous person. I don't understand kids. I didn't mind. They were young people, very young people. They love their children so much. But I thank God, said a little prayer to God. But after 2 years, they came back and said, you know, a year back, I remember one parent came for a meeting and did not speak at all. She had complained a lot about me. And I didn't reprimand her, didn't call her and said, why did you do it? Nothing. She came for the meeting, she didn't speak, she was sitting. After the meeting was over, everybody left. She came close to me, but you could see she was very scared. And she told me, uh, will you speak to me? Can I speak to you? I said, why not? But why didn't you speak in the meeting? Yes, I have time. Come on. Then, she tried to bend down. I said, what happened? Want to sit down? She said, no, I want to touch your feet. So I said, no, no, please don't. I don't believe in touching feet. Why should a human being touch another human being's feet? No, I touch because I had to. I've been taught, but I don't like to take it. And she started howling. She started crying profusely. She said, you're such a good friend of mine. 2 years back, my child would have started with the treatment. But because I did not get it, the treatment got 2 years late. And whatever you said, the doctor said everything. She said, ma'am, when you have such children in the school, I will come and talk to the parents. That was my gift, Rupini. When I say this, I'm getting goosebumps. That was my gift. That she understood that I was not cruel. I was not insulting her. I don't hate her child. I love her child more than the others. That message had gone through. It took 2 years, a very bad courier, but it reached. And again, I started believing that if you have a good purpose
Yes.
in your mind, it will reach. Maybe in a bullock cart, but it will reach. So I feel all the more in inclusive education, maybe the normal child may get a bit delayed, a bit bored, but they will also learn to adjust with a whole lot of things. We never, in no syllabus, no subject, adjustment is taught. Adjustment happens due to circumstances. So I feel, even the normal child benefits by sitting with the differently able child. And the differently able child also gets motivated that I'm no less. I'm sitting in the class with them. I'm just like them. Come on. You better accept me. I'm good. So this is what I feel. But because as I told you about psychology, what I say, most of the time to my colleagues, to my higher ups, all seems Latin. This is the sad part of me being an educator. They understand maybe 7 years later, 10 years, when a lot of,
Time has already
time
passed.
has been lost. Why? If you don't have a finger, you can sit in a normal place.
Yes.
If you are blind by one eye, you can sit in a normal. But if I'm slightly autistic or I'm dyslexic, why can't I sit in the same class? I want to ask you, teacher. If I was a student, I would ask my teacher, why, teacher? Can you give me one reason? How am I less than the others? And the more you segregate them, the more you push them towards the end on the wrong side, not the end on the success side. You actually put a barrier on them. So, I very much support inclusive education. Why should they go to a different class? Maybe they're a bit slow. Now, if I go to sing and I can't sing, so in a music class, I'm a special child. You can do maths, very good, but you don't do your Hindi grammar properly. Then in the Hindi class, you're a special child. All parents, the normal parents, parents with normal children have to understand this. And I always say, not as a teacher, as a mother, that once you bear your child and you go through the process of giving birth, though I didn't go through a proper thing, I had a cesarean section, but still the whole thing, I'm going for delivery, I'm going to have a baby after that, you see the baby, everything. I think you become a mother to the whole world. Anybody you see, your heart goes out. True. Which was not maybe before my delivery.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
It has happened with me greatly, I have met people, who's like 35, 40, which my son isn't yet. But I tell them, you're like my son, you're so young. And they say, no, ma'am, I'm 42. I said, oh, it's okay. I'm like your mother. My heart goes out. So I support inclusive education. I'm one big supporter. I can stand with placards, walk miles to fight for them. Even LGBT.
Yes.
Even for them, always there. They are not responsible with what kind of orientation. And the society puts a stamp on them. No, it's not done. You're lucky that your child wasn't born that way. But if somebody's child is born, you better accept the child as he or she is. I don't know whether I could give a proper answer.
The practical solutions that you discussed just sounded immensely apt and applicable for the special situations. Well, is that how you guide the new students on the first days of their joining your institution?
Yes, I've had students who have speech problem,
Yes.
They're hyper.
Right.
So the first day they come, they talk a lot. And like the parents will say, keep quiet, why are you talking? Shout at them, And I'm like, don't shout. No, ma'am, you don't know this. That. I said, I'm an outsider to him or her. You're insulting your child in front of, respect your child's identity. Okay, and then I'll tell the parents, I don't want to listen to you, I want to talk to the child. And the child sometimes talks gibberish, sometimes talks little sense.
Yes.
But I listen, and I smile, I put up my hand. And I have had students, new students, the first day, they come for admission, they get up from the chair and they come and hug me and kiss me. There's one child in my school, still she doesn't call me ma'am or anything. She calls me friend. Other teachers reprimand her, her parents get it. She says, no, I will not. She's my friend, she's not my friend. And that is one big gift I got as an educator. If my student can call me friend, I think nothing better can happen in my life as an educator. They come and tell me, little ones, why are you wearing this pink sari? Very bad. Don't wear. And they go and tell their parents, I told ma'am this today. And the parents are like, oh my God, tomorrow they will call me at school. And I'm like, no, we don't. Next day, ma'am, did she really do this? Yeah. But ma'am, you didn't call us. I said, for what? To tell us that she shouldn't be doing this, she should be. I said, no. If I have broken that barrier, that True. They can come and talk to. If I'm absent, they say, they can't speak properly English, the little ones. No absent. Very bad. Diary. They'll ask me. And I feel so good. I never feel that, oh, why the hell they should ask me, no? So, and especially when they come, most of the times it has happened with me that the very first day, I have struck a balance with the child with differently able. Even when they join, it's the hyper ones, they run out of the class and all sorts of things. And you know where they run out to? My room. They come straight to my room. I will discuss. If do you have time? I
Yes,
want
yes,
to discuss.
no, no, ma'am. Yes, absolutely.
In Jamshedpur, in one school where I was principal, we had this interview. And usually, these pre-primary classes interview, I don't believe in asking them ABCD and spelling and all that. I don't believe in it. So we used to have a very casual thing. And this girl, she looked like an angel. So we took her. She joined us. Then after 3-4 days of class, my teacher comes and says, "Ma'am, she's dumb. We made a mistake. So please inform our parents that it's not a deaf and dumb school. So she has to go back." So I said, "Don't be so harsh. Let's." But somehow I found, whenever she went out of the class, she would pull the curtain of my room and smile. So somewhere she was connecting with
Connect.
me. But she was very, very hyper with her friends, beating them up, eating their tiffin. So other children were actually, very scared of her. So I told the teacher, okay, from now on, she won't go to class after assembly, she'll come to my room. So the first day she came to my room, she pulled my hand, she wanted to sit on my chair. I made her sit. And she liked it because it was revolving. Then she picked up the phone, this, that. So for 7 days, she sat in my room and she did whatever she felt like. I didn't tell her anything. The teacher was getting very disturbed, and I said, "You just forget about her." Then I guessed that she's not dumb, nothing. She has got a shock. I have to find out about her shock. So I called her parents one day. Didn't say that she's bad or anything. Just tried to ask them what she does in school, at home, and they started complaining. She's very naughty, she's disturbing us. I have a newborn. She's always jumping on this one. She's always asking for my attention. So I got my answer. The shock was the newborn. She was not prepared for the newborn. And the newborn, actually, as an outsider, for her, an outsider, no, had robbed her parents from her. She couldn't take it. So, but I told the mother, you should give some attention to her when the other one is sleeping. Take her with you when you're taking care of the little one. And you should have prepared her when you were expecting that your friend is coming, here is your friend, and all that. But, so she kept sitting in my office. One day I had two phones. I picked up one receiver, she picked up the other one. So I said hello. She didn't say anything. She smiled. Then I uttered her name. She didn't say anything. I kept on talking. Mini, you won't believe I did this for 3 days. One day I told her, "You're a very naughty girl. I don't love you. Now you go back to class." And suddenly she said, "No, love me." And she started speaking. That was like magic for her. When I told her, "I don't love you, I'll send you back to class. You're a naughty girl." All this time I was always telling her, "You're a good girl, I love you." So I said, "Let me try this." I said, "You're a naughty girl, you have to go back to class. I don't love you." "You so harsh and loud." "No, love me." And she started speaking for the next day. Everything was okay. That was big love. So you have to try. As I told you, I'm not a special educator, I'm not trained. But from my experience,
And would you like to have some water?
no, I get this dry cough. So you are also a bit moved
Yes, yes,
by
yes.
this.
It's
These are all
amazing.
real life,
It's amazing takeaways for teachers who are beginners here, I tell you,
and these are not from any internet or anything.
Yes.
It has happened to me. I can tell you the year also, 2004.
Okay. Ma'am, now let's talk
Yes.
about your personal journey of relocating from the familiar. Leaving such a lifelong stay at Jamshedpur must have been a long adjustment for you. Did it make you a bit anxious to think about the future while taking such a life-changing step? Did it make you emotional?
Well, it's the other way back. Actually, I'm a Kolkata.
Yeah.
In 87, I moved to Jamshedpur. Okay, so first when I went to Jamshedpur, it was nothing new because, my grandparents, my mother's uncle used to stay there. So every
Okay.
year we used to go to Jamshedpur. I was used to Shakti and Franks and
Yes.
Novelty.
Thanks.
All this I already knew. Softy Corner, then all the shops and all that. But as I started staying as a Jamshedpurian, don't feel bad. And when I would come to Kolkata and I went back, then I would miss Kolkata because of the culture. I'm not saying Jamshedpur is not, Jamshedpur is culturally very rich, but still, I missed Bengali movies very much. When I would hear from my friends, about Ritu Parno Ghosh and all that when I was there, but I didn't get to see Ritu Parno Ghosh movies until I came to Kolkata. Or, I missed the Bengali plays and also the English plays, which was staged here by different groups from all over India. I missed the theatre festivals.
Right. At academy and
Jamshedpur had theatres, and I'm not saying that I didn't. Yes, I got to see a few. Jamshedpur also had some good theatre groups and all that, but those were gone after a few years. So, but when I came back to Kolkata again in 2011, for very first few 2-3 years, it was honeymoon for me, in Kolkata. I was watching movies, going for plays, going for fairs, going to ice skating rink. I became a young girl, I was. But yes, Jamshedpur also. And particularly me should be very, very thankful to Jamshedpur. Because I'm not a Jamshedpur girl. I'm not a Jamshedpur kid. But as a professional, Jamshedpur welcomed me and gave me space to grow. Even if today I am this much, the entire credit goes to Jamshedpur. Everything goes to Jamshedpur. I was a raw person. I finished my studies, I went to Jamshedpur. I was raw, absolutely raw. As I told you in the interview, they
yes.
had told me that you don't have experience. But yes, Jamshedpur, accepted me with open arms and a big smile and said, Shoma, you grow, we give you the place. It's yours. Who said you're not a Jamshedpur kid? You're not a Sacred Heart or a Rajendra Vidyalaya or DBMS kid. You are absolutely Jamshedpurian. The parents believed in me, though they did not know. Usually what happens, Jamshedpur people know each other some way or the other because of its close-knit thing. But nobody knew me. But they believed in me. They trusted me. I don't know if I can ever give back to Jamshedpur anything. I don't have that power.
Ma'am, you
God
already
hasn't.
have. You already have. Because
Because, I don't know in Kolkata, if I would have started my profession, where I would be. Maybe good, maybe bad. I don't know. I came back to Kolkata education scene at the fag end of my life. Now it's the fag end of my life. Okay, but most of my experience, my examples, my learning is from the steel city. And all my, what should I say, bosses, my colleagues, I've had such wonderful colleagues whom I still want to, if I wish I could become like some of them. Our JPS principal, I wish I was even 1% of her. I wish, it's my dream. Of all the teachers over there, Shubhendu, Mr. Chaudhary, Girija, Shinchita, Achla, so many to name, Meeta, Nirmal Nanda, Prabha, so many. I wish even I could become 1% of them. They are like, gods and goddesses for me. If today in Calcutta people tell me good, we have a share in it. Jamshedpur has total share on it. I went as a newborn, you can say, raw person. Jamshedpur actually, cuddled me and helped me to grow, if I've grown at all.
Now, most of your students who had to relocate from Jamshedpur for various reasons will totally relate with this section, I believe. Okay, ma'am, now let's head towards the lighter side of life and deal with a few less somber questions. What would the students be surprised to find out about you? Tell us if you often accidentally say correct people's grammar, mentally or otherwise.
No, they will be very surprised to know. Maybe you'll also be very surprised to know. I think that I'm very lazy even. I'm very, very lazy. Maybe, when I usually, even in the school where I am, parents say, my God, she walks so fast. Okay, so seeing, me in my workplace,
Yes.
me at home, are two different personalities. The most callous mother, okay, the most irresponsible wife, and the most selfish daughter, I think I was
You're
to
just
my
being
parents.
too modest and humble, I believe.
I'm telling you, Lumbini, I can't be bothered about anything at home. I love to be only, okay, I'll do it. Your mind today, like, if you do this, oh, let's get khana from outside. It's like that. Very, very lazy. But in my work front, I always think that somebody is watching me with a judgmental eye. But at home, I'm sure they are not judging. Even if they are judgmental, poor fellows have to keep it in their heart and cry on their pillows. So that's one thing I'm sure my students, you people will be surprised that Soma Miss is lazy. I'm very lazy. I'm very disorganized.
What fun information we just had. Ma'am, tell us, how did you train your brain to remember so many names? You must have already handled more than, what, say 5,000 students in your life or more perhaps.
Yeah. Here I'll share with you that I'm so lucky. I had to go to the US for with a scholarship for 6 months. I was there. So whole lot of projects I had to do. So there was one project that for 400 hours in bits and pieces throughout my 6 months, I had to visit a school as an observer to see what is American education about and make a comparative study and all that stuff. I did nothing probably about it. So I had to just go and sit. So first 2 days I sat, but I found it very boring. So I asked my partner teacher, who was much, much younger to me, a wonderful person. So, and can you imagine the partnership? She was 6'1", and think of me. I was like near her waist. She's a wonderful person. Very, very talented. So on the third day, I told her, gee, like, I can't sit like that. And we had struck a friendship, I'm very lucky. So I cannot sit like this. It's too much for me. Otherwise, you get a bed for me in the classroom. So what do you want to do, Soma? You want to walk out of the class or go to the library? I said, no. Should I tell you something? She said, what? Can I teach? She said, oh, I would be so happy. I'll be really. I said, but can you trust me with my accent? Accent is a big problem. And I don't know, good, bad, ugly, whatever accent I have. I cannot say cat and all that. So she said, oh, like, I have no problem with your accent, even the children don't have, the students don't have. So then, in class 12, they had a book of essays. So there was one essay by an Indian American, Bharati Mukherjee. Actually, she's one of my favorite writers, This one of her book. You can read it also. It's a wonderful book.
Yes.
Okay. So it was about, citizenship.
Okay.
For an Indian to go and settle in America and go for citizenship.
Okay.
Very lovely, touching essay. So I said, Andy, what should I teach? She said, whichever you like. And they had George Orwell. So I said, first I'll start with the essay. I'll do this Bharati Mukherjee. She said, go ahead. So, I planned, I made a little small one, PowerPoint. And that day I wore a sari to school. Especially I wore a baluchori sari. You know what's a baluchori sari?
Yes.
So they were like, oh, what are you wearing? And they liked the work. They said if they could get few meters of that, they would make gowns for their proms. Well, so, I was in a fix that how will I start? Let me tell you, they knew nothing about it. Only one boy in the class knew about India, that we put orange tattoos, mainly.
Okay.
So India, you do such lovely orange tattoos. So that's what India was for them. So I was in a fix. Where would I start with Bharati Mukherjee? So, Mother Teresa came to save me. So my PowerPoint presentation, opening page was Mother Teresa. Now the Saint of Calcutta. So they came to class and on the screen they saw like Mother Teresa. They told me, Miss Soma, Mother Teresa. That time she was not Saint of Calcutta, she was Mother Teresa. So I said, yes, what happened? He says, she's this, she's that. I said, do you know that we belong to the same country? They said, yes, she's from India. I said, do you know we belong to the same city? And as a little girl, I went to her homes. At that time, she was Sister Teresa. She was not Mother Teresa also. And, I struck a balance.
True.
And India opened to them. And then, I talked to them about Kolkata. Then I told them that the author of this essay, she also comes from the city from where I came. And, she also has a sari like this and she wears it. And we did it. You won't believe the last day in that school, I did not know. When the teacher told them it was my last day, they prepared for a surprise party and they got stuff from home. I didn't know. So then the teacher in the class said, come on, let's begin. And they were not doing anything. The teacher felt very false that they are not prepared. Then, she took out her bowl. She had prepared something and brought. And still children were just sitting. She says, oh, then I go to the lunchroom with Soma. Then, they took out their little packets with tears. That was a great gift for me. I have a photograph with one of the guys, very tall. huge fellow, he was a basket. He came to hug me and he pressed me very, very hard. It was hurting. So I said, Ivan, it hurts me. He says, I want to do that. I said, but why? I'll die. You're such a Hulk. You know what he said? I wish you die. Then you'll be in America. I'll go to your grave every day. Lumbini, I could not speak after that for half an hour. If a foreigner student felt that for me, I thought I was very lucky. And American school taught me a lot. See, here when we go to class, you're shouting. What is our reaction? Stop shouting! Why are you all shouting? Don't you know I have a class? This is the way we taught you and you all grew up. But after returning from America, this attitude of mine had changed. Because there I found, students, they move from class to class.
Yes, yes. Ma'am,
Teachers are stationed.
Sorry to interrupt, ma'am. When I began my teaching career, I was initially teaching primary, and the students just wouldn't sit. Students who had returned from US, because it's not how they are taught. They just don't sit like the Indian students and be taught for hours. So I think somewhere we also, as Indian teachers, need to adapt these kind of changes and be more accommodating.
So so they move from classes. The students go to the different classes. The teachers are stationary.
Yes, yes.
So when they are moving after one class to another class, and these long, we call hallways, what we call corridors, they call hallways. And they have their cupboards from where they get their books and everything. And in the hallway, everything is happening. Okay? Except that babies are not born there. But everything else is happening. And I would see, the principal of the school, this gentleman, would walk behind the children and say, make way, ladies and gentlemen, make way. What would be the scenery in an Indian school? Why are you getting late? Hurry up! Go to your classes. What do you think? Come to school for fun? But here, this gentleman said, get going, ladies and gentlemen. Get going. With a big smile that taught me a huge, big, massive lesson. That, raised eyebrows, you know, pouted lips with a negative message is not healthy for children. And I used to feel very depressed that I have been so cruel with people. I'm not talking about your bad, about students before, that how much I shouted at them. I really used to feel that I've committed a sin. Unknowingly, of course, not knowingly. It changed my attitude great. And also, usually I feel, with all my due respect to teachers, but we teachers, we think we are walking encyclopedias and we know everything. We are great talkers, bad listeners. But my return or stay in USA and return to India made me a much better listener. Of course, I was a listener in school in JPS when I was the, what should I say, unwritten counselor. I was not a counselor by profession, but I counseled a lot of students. Again, I was given that opportunity by my boss, thanks to her. But we usually like to say, you should do this, you shouldn't do this, I know this, I did this, and all teachers came first in class, no? And no teachers talked in class. Okay, when you become a teacher, you are the ideal student. But I wasn't one, and I never told you all also that. I always told you all that I was really bad. So I became a better listener, and that has helped me. So, my children, as you said, how I remember their names. Few years back, one of my students, Rahul, he sent me a friend request and a message. ma'am, do you remember me? So I said, yes, very much. Then he said, ma'am, I'm so lucky that you remember me. You taught me. I said, you're a great artist. When we had the assessment inspection for the J.T. Rani Excellence Award, remember you had done such a wonderful storyboard to show the secular India and how together you had put all the religious signs and made of you. He said, Miss, I had forgotten. I had actually forgotten. I said, when we had the English club exhibition, you had done the tree for me, the foreign words which came in. He says, Miss, I forgot. I sent him a picture of the photograph which I had. I said, this is what you're allowed to. This is what you're allowed to. If you've entered my heart, you are there. You are just there. So that's how I remember your names, because all of y'all mattered, as I told you in my group. You're
And
my
ma'am,
teacher.
who would be your favorite student on the list? Let's put you on the spot. This question terrifies every teacher.
I think all in their various ways. I remember when I used to get y'all in class 12, maybe
Yes,
for a few months actually.
yes,
So, when y'all came to class 12, y'all would come to me with a baggage.
yes.
The other teachers would say, this one is naughty, this one is bad, this one is good, this one is meritorious, this is studious, this one fails, this one's talkative. So you all came with a baggage. But I was lucky, even at that young age, I would throw the baggage in the staff room trash can. I didn't carry it. So, I'll tell you one particular boy about him. It was said that he's notorious, this, that. So when he came to my class, I never gave him that feel. Of course, he was not in the class, tried to do a lot of things, and I still love him for that. So one day, I had just told them, can you write a little letter to me, dear Miss or dear Miss Soma or dear Teacher Soma, whatever you all want to write. You may not write your name at the end, but write about something that you love and you enjoy a lot, but you can't tell many people because it's very special for you, but it's not for them. So you feel shy to tell them that people will make fun. People will say, if you say, I like to break the peanut into 4 pieces and eat and enjoy. I'm just giving an example. People might laugh. What's so great about it? So I said, something like that you write. And then, I don't want to share what he said. He wrote something, Lumbini. I'll tell you, I felt like going back to my colleagues and telling them that you had put a mark on him, put a baggage on him. Did you ever try to find out what made him? Recently, I don't know if you have seen or read in Facebook, I had written, when Dhoni becomes Dhoni, we run
Yes,
after him as a
true.
teacher. But
Yes,
when it's Riya Chakravarti, we don't go to the jail and say, we are there for you.
yes.
If maybe I was wrong somewhere, I didn't give you a lesson, so you are up here. I always stand for my students, wherever, however, whatever. They are mine. They are very much mine. In this matter, very selfishly, I tell you, I enjoy the ownership that they are my students. I don't know if I've ever taught them anything, whether they learned anything from me, I don't know. I'm not so lucky, I'm not so fortunate that I can teach somebody. I made an attempt. So that's how I remember you, each one of you. I can even, narrate little incidents from the classes, what you used to do. Because, when I was in the class, I was in the class. I was in the class. I still, I'm talking to you, I'm back in the table behind me, and I'm still.
Well, very, very well justified, ma'am, and safely so. So many students admire you. How do you make those connections? Ma'am, do you see any relevant changes in today's educators in terms of, say, wanting to make similar connections? Or do you have any tips for them in this regard?
Well, I'll tell you, today's educators, today, if I tell you, I don't know to fold my hands or say kudos, salute, salam. The way teachers have changed during COVID overnight.
Right.
Overnight, they were tech savvy. They were tech savvy, but not to this extent. Zoom, sharing the board, moving the board, this, that, background music. Oh, yes. But today, a teacher is also very lucky they have the tech support, which in our times was zero. It was you, and you. Your only friend in the classroom was, especially as an English teacher, I can tell you, was the chalk and the blackboard. That's all. So, somewhere I feel, with all my due respect for the present educators, that ours, because we didn't have the tech support, was much more, to some extent, creative in the true sense. Even today, it's creative. Using Zoom and teaching needs creativity, otherwise, you can't do it. But you have support. We didn't have that support. We didn't have that support. And I feel that's why we were more inside the class. Today, a lot of teaching is being done, wonderfully done. Children are doing very well, but you are outside. The tech is inside the class. You are outside. You are more bothered when you go to class to see the remote is there and the CPU is on, everything. What about you? We sometimes, at least me, I was very, very lackadaisical about dressing up. I don't know, y'all must be always feeling scared how we will see Miss today. Okay, but at least I feel for myself nowadays that I used to be into it. I forgot.
We have never seen you even with a lipstick, is what I remember. But then when you started speaking, that could do the makeup for you. You did not need the lipstick, is the point. We have never
I'll
seen you.
share with you with one of the batches in 12A. I never wear bindis. I only wore it twice. The day I got married and the day we had the reception, you're supposed to wear bindi and nail polish. I never wear these because in school as a student I couldn't do it. That stayed with me. So once one teacher in JPS for Teach, this festival Teach for married ladies.
Yes, yes, yes.
So this very good friend of ours, she had offered bindis to God and brought them as blessings for us that, it's for the married ladies, that this is your blessing so that you remain with your sindoor and all that, and that typical thing. So she brought and she gave us. Of course, we were very happy. And everybody immediately removed their own bindis and put this one. And I never wore a bindi. So this friend of mine, my colleague, told me, "Come on, I brought it from Tej. It's a blessing you wear." I said, "Come on, I don't wear a bindi." So she says, "No, you better wear it. Why are you such a stubborn thing? What will happen? You're some style icon or something." I said, "Me and style, my God." She forced me, and I respected her sentiments. Though I was feeling very funny going down the stairs with nothing. That's why, like, my husband doesn't like, so I don't wear. Even I'm very, very, what should I say? Not used to even wearing sindoor because I rub it off with my hand. I forget it's there. So with this bindi also, I went to class. And my class, like, what's happening? Soma teacher looking so different, probably funny. And, I was teaching literature, reading the story, and they are like, With my bindi, they were moving. If I move this side. So I realized that this bindi was a big, barrier in the way of connection. So I took out the bindi, I put it on the board. They demanded. So I put it back. Then I finished. When I went out of the class, I remember 12A, I used to come out, and then Mr. Chaudhary used to enter maths class. And then third period, you would usually have physics. I came up, two boys came up the stairs. Miss, you're looking very sweet. I didn't say anything. Felt very embarrassed. Went back to the staff room next day as usual in my funny way. I came back to school. And, on the table I found little chits of papers. Yes and no votes. I said, I came and found yes, no, two piles. What's this? This votes. Votes? For what? Our captain and everything is over. They looked down and they said, Bindi vote. I said, what? I didn't get it first. I said, Bindi. I forgot also the previous day I wore a bindi and all that happened. They vote, what are you all talking? Come on, stop talking nonsense. Get out of the class. Yes, it is. I said, what happened? Some of us liked, some of us didn't like. So we put it and we'll count it, and whatever happens, you have to do it. Thank God no was moved. But Lumbini, even to this day, I feel I'm so lucky. Those young, intelligent boys and girls, they bothered about their
Ma'am, you
teachers.
were always the teachers for teenagers, let me tell you. I mean, I do not know if you have special preference for primary, but then you were always the teachers for teenage students like us because we could relate, we could talk. That age group, at that age group, it's very difficult to find some adult with whom you can relate to. And you have been a blessing for teenagers, I must tell you.
I don't know, Lumbini, today night I can sleep or not. I'll be getting goosebumps. I didn't know this. I had these sights. I never knew. I always thought I had nothing to do, so I taught, and so JPS just gave me a chance and said, Chalo, poor girl, where will she go? But yes, I was very proud of JPS. I don't want to name institutions. Some elite institution used to very often offer me a job because I was somehow connected to that school. And always say, what you're teaching there, come here. It's in the middle of the city. And it's a name. You'll have a chip on your shoulder. Even one teacher had once told me it's so easy to teach in JPS. But it's very difficult to teach at this school because students came from high and mighty homes. So I had said, when they come from high and mighty homes, 70% of the work is done at home. They have a lot of exposure.
True.
But we love teaching children
True.
who get support, tremendous support at home. But they wait for our support also.
True.
So that gives me pride. So I will not come to your institution. However great and mighty, I feel proud that my JPS children, when they will go to the moon, other school children going to the moon, I don't care. They would have also gone any school they went to. Our children going, we also feel. JPS when it was coming up, I remember nursery forms used to go out. Few came in. But over the years, we found when nursery forms used to be given, ground floor one side had to be blocked because there was such a rush. And after that, they used to use microphones to control the parents. That was our victory.
True.
That was our victory. That microphones were used in JPS to control the nursery admissions.
And ma'am, because of you all, we might not have been then, but we all have become today. Because of
Yes,
your
you have had lovely teachers. That's true. I don't belong to that group, but you've had some lovely teachers. I really, really salute them. They are such great people. I keep talking about them in my school even today. And I thank them that they still maintain the friendship with me and they love me, though they are so great. I'm such a mediocre, below average, but still they, somewhere tell me, Shoma, we love you. And we are connected. Some of them are very good friends.
wonderful insights, ma'am. We would finally want to know if you have any word of wisdom or special suggestions for your students on the occasion of Children's Day as well as Diwali when this will be aired. Also, many of the students who have already graduated would be keen to know if you would mind taking up the role of being their English teacher again over some informal session, maybe just to relive those school time experiences.
Uh, Taking the class, I think Lumbini, you all will cut down my age a lot. Brings tears to my eyes to think that I will have y'all, because now y'all are such great people, doing such great jobs, and you want a class from me. It's a direct blessing. It's a direct blessing. Only the Almighty can do that.
Ma'am, you're too humble and too
I'm
generous.
telling you, y'all are so well placed in life, Lumbini. I can tell people today that, this one is my student. I taught her. I taught him. He was in my class. You are so well placed. Where am I? Nowhere. Except lovely memories of you touching my life. I don't know how much I touched your life, but I think you all touched my life. As I always say, if ever I was rich in the next life, if I open a school, there will be nothing. Children can come into anything. Even in my present school, when they ask me in the diary to put the principal's message, I always say this school is like a canvas. Every child is given a paintbrush to put his or her color and paint us to glory with their glories. A school is for children, not for teachers or principals. A school can run without a principal. A school can run without a few teachers, but you can never have a school without students. So they actually come and give us glory. We don't give them glory. They give us glory. A school is known by the students. This batch got so many 98s. Who does it? Not the teacher. The student does it. So I would love to take classes. And for Children's Day, I wish we had that Mela again and my cold drink stall. And I would give you all mocktails and
This time,
charge you very, very high rates to
oh,
make good profit.
I thought I would say this time free, but
But one thing I would say, word of wisdom to parents and teachers like you people, please leave your children aside for some time. By aside, I'm not saying leave them alone. Let them sit in front of you and do something without any finishing room. And another thing, when they return from school, whatever their age, don't start barging them with questions. Did you have the English test? Did you give up the Hindi book? In history, did the teacher give the rest of the questions? No. When they come in, whatever age, listen to them. You don't have to ask them, it will come from them. First, they will tell you about all the funny things that happen in school. The little ones. The elder ones, of course, all the naughty things you all do that cannot be shared with parents. Okay. But slowly things will come. And slowly your child will start trusting you. That my parent has time to listen to my rubbish also. Usually what we do, this happened, that happened. They want to come and tell you today, this one's birthday, I got 2 toffees. I asked her, again she gave me 2 more, so I had 4. Or this one, gave us a pencil and eraser. Oh, we went to the library, we did this. I tore one book, librarian did not see. I quickly kept it inside the shelf. All these things come out. First, as a parent and as a teacher, also, I believe you have to win their trust. Like, it was a great gift for me, Lumini, that you told me that I was a hit with the teenagers. Probably because I trusted you. I remember one year, I remember the batch also. I remember the girl also. I'm connected with her even today. I had told, I went to 11C and they said they don't want to study. They said they want to do something. I said, you all say something, but they couldn't say. So I said, there's something very secret in you which you can't share with anybody, but you hate that. You hate that. You wish it was not there in your life. Can you write? You don't have to write your name because nobody likes to talk about the bad side. But let me read, and I will give answers to all. So the person who has written it will get the answer. Others will learn from it. And one particular student, I don't remember a boy or a girl, had written that I love my father very much. But after 10 o'clock at night, I wish he was not. Because then he not only drinks, he becomes a drunkard. And I hate him then. I wish he was not my father or I was not his daughter. But the next morning, I forget it. It's gone with the night. And I wish this was not there in my life. Even that 1 hour in my life, I hate it. I don't want to exist then. Lumbini, I felt sad. I thought, in general, not to the person directly. Nobody likes. But again, I felt blessed. I had so much trust could write this. I felt so blessed. Once one child, again in 11th C, is doing very well in life. So proud of him. But in the lower classes somewhere, he had missed a year or two. So he was like, what will you do? You're a good one, nothing. Sort of. He had got that time. I tried my best in class to get him out of it, but he used to be very sarcastic. Because it was, injected into him. So one day he was writing beautifully, ABCD, different styles. So I just patted on his back and I said, oh my God, beautiful. My God, you can do wonders. You can go for commercial art. You'll do very well in life. Just turned back at me and, with his eyes a bit low, he says, enough is enough. Don't make fun. I know I'm not good. He says, why do you want to make fun of me, Miss, that I'll do well in life? And, he's all over the world now. And he's connected with me. And he keeps telling me that that day I started believing that it's not all over with. According to Soma teacher, I can. These are my gifts. Nobody can except God. You all actually came in my life, different forms, but you all are gods and goddesses. The school was just the medium so that we meet. But you all are for me, I should worship. You all are my gods and goddesses. To say this, I feel proud, but I become very emotional.
And that
So
was a
I
yes,
hold my hands towards you all and say thank you for coming in my life.
that was a wonderful way of wishing your students on this
No,
Children's
happy
Day.
Children's Day.
Well,
It
amazing,
was
ma'am.
wonderful connecting. It was wonderful connecting.
It's
Lumbini, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I think I've never in my life spoken so much about myself, my children, my teaching. Give me an opportunity to speak. Thank you. Even when I die, if people are interested, my grandchildren can listen to it, that their grandma used to think this way. Wonderful. Thank
ma'am,
you
it's
very much, and all your friends and all my students, wherever you are, whichever school, whichever street, whichever age.
it was simply amazing, ma'am. Viewers, so there she was, the amazing Miss Soma Banerjee, the woman with indomitable will and spirit, popularly remembered with fondness as Soma Miss or Miss Banerjee by every student whose life she has touched upon in her voluminous career. And with this, we have come to the end of this conversation. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you, ma'am, from all your students across the globe. Thank you.
Thank you so much once again.